Thanks for the alert. I don't know why it took so long for people to tell me there was no sound. Sorry, it took so long for people to tell me there was no sound. So I should have sound now. Hello, I'm back. Damn it. I actually kind of want to stop this and start again, but I'm not going to do that. Poppy Davis, hey Goober, we can't hear you. Yes, you can hear me now. But thank you for the super chat, Poppy. I appreciate you. Damn, I hate when that happens, but there are so many buttons and things. I actually have to put together my studio kind of every time I do this. So if I miss one little step, I'm screwed because this rarely. Yes, Rich Diana, we're being mind fucked out here. Exactly. So let me go back to this. Did y'all see this? You saw this. This is our Arctic temperature situation today. I really apologize for the lack of sound. So yeah, there should be more. There's actually more people watching than 39. But anyways, as you can see, very hot, warm temperatures in the Arctic. If you're wondering why it's cold in North America, this is why. Extremely warm air. This is today, pushing out all the cold air because it's way too hot in the Arctic. Anyways, just to recap. But greetings, welcome everyone. So Botwinka was actually talking to you, and I'm sorry because you couldn't hear me talking to you. Botwinka said, let me see if I can find your comment. Excuse me. Excuse me. Where are we? So, I see. You answered my question. I just read today that during Obama era, Fauci and his administration gave $3.7 million to the Chinese lab in Wuhan to work on coronaviruses. Well, that's not weird. That's not weird at all. Her comment before that was, let me see. She had a question for me before that. Hold on. Last time Kevin was reading his Twitter feed about Obama's faults, I was a bit skeptical, but damn, this Chinese grant is shady. Yes. Well, be skeptical, please. Skepticism is a sign of intelligence. I'm telling you. That it is. I'm reaffirming your skepticism, and my enjoyment of your skepticism is wholehearted. Yes, be very skeptical. Skepticism is not, just because you're questioning things doesn't mean you're a loony, a crazy, a Trumper, a weirdo. It means that you're thinking. Okay, so Anthony Davis, a lot of crazy reds and blues. The Arctic and the Antarctic are baking today. Yeah, good fun. Hot fun in the summertime. Record heat in Cuba and Mexico, yes. Yes. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people obviously are questioning what's going on, what's really going on. We have, we had an in-depth article about improprieties and sloppiness at biolabs, in the States, 20 years ago. And now it looks like there's improprieties going on in these Chinese labs, and we gave a grant to the Wuhan lab that, supposedly was running a sloppy business, a sloppy operation. Yeah, Kuro, thanks. There's actually kind of a bit of a lag between what I'm doing and what you guys are seeing. So yeah. Anyways, yeah. So I mean, it looks like there's about Winka. I feel reaffirmed and anointed. Yes, indeed. So like the questions abound, and I don't think people are wrong to have the questions. It's just that there's a lot of people out there saying, "Damn it, how dare you have these questions?" And I hate to say it, but most of those people are, would define themselves as liberals or lefties, maybe even progressives. Exactly. Kuro Hikes, you live in a world where everybody's trying to lie to you, so you better be questioning things. Exactly. Um, and it's, people are so confused that they question things that are actually happening, like climate change, right? For the people who are really upset about being lied to, it's not a stretch of the imagination to become a person that thinks that everything is a lie, or we live in a matrix, or you know it's all a conspiracy, man, right? There are a lot of those people, and those people are easy to ignore or deride, or say they're crazy, or we want to put them in a box. But there's a lot of there's a misinformation campaign going on all the time, and it's going on right now. We had an actual admission by the CIA that they were involved, years ago, Operation Mockingbird, years and years ago, that they were involved in, misinformation, people giving media people news stories. Here, say this. If you think that's not going on now, if you think that they just said, "Oh, we'll just stop," we stopped that because you caught us. Oh, we're bad. We did it. Yeah, you're right. Anyways, I think there's a lot of misinformation going on, and I think people are right to question what's actually happening. But again, I'm not saying that we shouldn't. You shouldn't take things. For the most part, take things at face value. Investigate like hell what is really, what's a lie and what is not. But if you're shutting down ideas just because, out of a reactionary impulse, that's as ignorant as as accepting something because of a reactionary impulse. Anyways, so what I wanted to cover some things. I know we've been chatting, and I've been I've been talking to you with the sound off for a while, so that's always fun. First of all, one more time, again, welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. And please remember to like the video. Please remember to make sure you're still subscribed. They are unsubscribing people like crazy on my channel. Please follow me on Rockfin. Here's a funny thing. My follower numbers, my subscription numbers on Rockfin only go one way, and that's up. I don't seem to be losing followers on Rockfin like I do on YouTube for whatever reason. For whatever reason, I've been stuck at the same number for about 2 or 3 months. I go up about 20, I lose 20. I go up about 20, I lose 20. It's ridiculous. And my follower number on Rockfin only goes up. And the funny thing is soon my subscriptions on Rockfin will soon pass YouTube. Very soon, in the near future. So that will be interesting when I have more followers on a channel that few people pay attention to than the followers I have on a channel that, I have viewers following, watching me every single day live, whatever. So please follow me on Rockfin. I'm trying to actually do some live streams on Rockfin. I'm trying to figure out what the what the technical glitch is there, or what it is I need to do in order to do some live streams on Rockfin. I would like to make that happen. Funky Mystic, I've never been unsubscribed. Yeah, some people are not, some people are. Some people tell me that they resubscribe multiple times. 3, 4, 5, 6 times. Yes, no representation. I do post the same videos on Rockfin. Sometimes it takes me a little while to do it because I have to upload these. I have to get the live versions of these videos or the versions of these videos and upload them on Rockfin. So usually they show up about a day or two later. But if I knew more people were watching me on Rockfin, if I was doing live streams on Rockfin, I would be spending a lot more time there. Paul H. Rockfin is a blockchain, basically like a YouTube channel. It's a video channel, and they have a lot of progressive commentators on there. Nico House is on there. Graham Elwood, Kim Iverson, I think, just joined. Convo Couch, like a lot of progressive channels are on there, as well as Black Bear News. So you can catch all my videos on Rockfin as well. And if you, whatever, you can watch videos over there, thumbs up, whatever. If you want to go watch past videos there, might be a good place to do it. Kent Deal says, learn how to cook, folks. Restaurants will all fail soon. Yeah, I know. Anthony Davis, I know. 65 watching, but it started at the beginning at about 71. Exactly. It happens every single video. So this is another thing that makes me, giggle on the inside. I'll start the video and my viewership will jump up to like 75 or 80 very quickly, and then bam, it'll knock me down to like 30 or 40. And then there's a very slow climb up to whatever it is I end up at. So it's Rosarem, yes, my sound is not always connected, right? Except for my sound. Anyways, so it's not just the mainstream media, but the alternative media sites, a la YouTube, like to tilt things in the favor of, mainstream media or accepted outlooks, viewpoints, narratives. Does Rockfin cost anything to subscribe? No, it does not. I think you just have to get the app and sign up for an account, Anthony. It's ROKFIN. There's a link in my description box. You can just go there. There is premium content. I don't know what that means. I don't know if you have to sign up for a paid account or something. I think you can get a free account and watch certain videos for free. Most of my videos are free there, but there are a few that I make, premium. I'm not sure what that means. If you want more information, I can get it for you. Paulo Fuchter. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. What amazes me is how people are just accepting all this nonsense being pushed down their throats without uprising against the wicked system we live in. Exactly. So, and you have people saying, why don't we have a yellow vest movement here? Why aren't people uprising here? Hell, the Extinction Rebellion movement here is, very tepid at best. Whereas in other countries, they are really, they're really showing us how it's done. Unfortunately, or fortunately, I mean, there are a lot of protests going on here. There are, rent strikers out there. There are fast food strikers striking, now. And there are people out there protesting these lockdowns, which, a lot of people are very upset about. And it seems to be a situation that's very strange. Anyways, I'm just going to show you. It's very loud. This is in Indiana. Don't know if you can see that very well. live video in Indiana of what looks like to be some Trump-loving people protesting against the lockdowns. And that's about all I'm going to show of that. So that's happening too. And it's an interesting thing that, anti-establishment forces are into Trump. It's interesting that they love Trump. It's interesting that they are corralled by Trump. Somebody, who is it? I am Sweetleaf. Is that your name? Is that your handle? I'm sorry. I don't want to mess it up, but somebody, in the chat the other day suggested that, Trump is some kind of, some kind of foil or some kind of agent. And I totally agree. I think that Trump is serving a purpose in corralling anti-establishment sentiment behind him and establishment sentiment against him. Like, he serves both purposes. ROKFIN is how it's spelled, Guyo Smith. The Trumpsters are at it again. Indeed. But if there was no Trump, who would these people be? What would you call these people? Would you call them citizens, Americans, weirdos, wackos? I don't know what you call them. Again, like I said yesterday, exactly, no representation. The hippies became the yuppies, and the hippies embraced drug culture, so it discounted their comments on all other issues. That's where and why protests died en masse in USA. Okay, good point, no representation. And this is what I want to cover today. First of all, going south, Donald is the collapse candidate, indeed. So I want to, I want to just talk about something a little bit weird. Big surprise there. Has anybody watched the interview with that guy, Tom O'Neill, on Joe Rogan? He wrote a book about Charles Manson, and basically Charles Manson was connected to MK. He was an MK Ultra experiment gone wrong. He was connected to the CIA. All of this is researched. Okay, so this is not conspiracy theory. This is conspiracy fact. He, spent 20 years researching this book. Anyways, I'm going to link this video. I might be able to show you a little of this video. Very interesting stuff. Maybe I won't show you the video right now. But basically, so they wanted to discredit the hippie movement by linking it with this incredible violence. Interesting, they also linked Manson to the Beatles, right? Helter Skelter. That was pretty well documented. They tried to link Manson to the Beatles and drug culture and the hippies, and obviously the hippies and all these anti-establishment movements were more, left-leaning, progressive, etc. Whereas the establishment at the time were, obviously right-wing. They also, the same people, the same organizations also infiltrated black movements like the Black Panthers, through COINTELPRO, and that was all proven to be absolutely true. Proven true by documents, that exist in space and time. If you remember, this was a story for a long time about rock and roll, right? That it had, and even the drug culture and the hippie movement, that it had hidden satanic messages, that they were promoting the devil. Eventually, counterculture just embraced this messaging, first through metal and then through punk. Anyway, this is just incredibly, if you listen to that whole interview, it's almost 3 hours. It's incredibly mind-blowing. Incredibly mind-blowing. And on top of all that, the CIA was, he uncovers a link between the CIA and like Jack Ruby. And what the deal is that there was a psychiatrist that was treating. He worked for the CIA. He was involved in MK Ultra. He was treating Charles Manson or connected to Charles Manson. He eventually became Jack Ruby's psychiatrist 24 hours before, Jack Ruby became like, he lost his mind. He went insane basically like while he was in jail. Anyways, super crazy stuff. But the thing is that, I know I spend a lot of time talking about how people take in information on this channel. Why? Because people are being gaslit today, right now, every day. Plenty of other channels are reporting on this, many progressive channels. People are starting to understand that the narratives don't line up all the time, right? The establishment narratives, what they're telling you. What they're telling you that you're supposed to be mad about or upset about don't line up. Take Trump being connected to Epstein or being a sexual abuser or a sexual deviant, right? But now we are being forced, to vote. If you're on the left, you're being forced to vote for Biden, who, has been accused of multiple counts of groping, inappropriate touching, breaking boundaries. He's being accused of just not being a very good guy. And so everybody on the left is supposed to just, God damn it, you're supposed to vote blue no matter who. It doesn't really matter if the guy that you're voting for embraces literally everything that Trump embraces, even to the race, down to the racism. Biden was against busing back in the day, had worked with segregationists, not anti-segregationists, segregationists, worked with some really incredibly disgusting people that were in the Congress at the time. They were all buddies. They were friends and buddies. He also worked against the Equal Rights Amendment. He also was instrumental in getting Clarence Thomas appointed to the Supreme Court, and taking down Anita Hill or making her look like she, wasn't to be believed, etc. So, those narratives don't line up right now. And yet, we have situations like, hold on. We have situations like this. We have situations like this where Democrats just really believe in the media. They really, everything, whatever the media is telling you, we trust you. I can only imagine that this is because of Trump, right? This starts at about 2016. Because Trump is a terrible guy and he won the presidency, and the media is going to tell you why he won and why he's terrible. And, this makes everybody feel like, yeah, we're in this with you. It's gone down a little bit, but I don't understand. I do understand, but I don't understand this. I don't understand this. This is a problem. This right here is a problem. It's a problem for people who are trying to understand and people who are trying to explain what the hell is really going on. You might think Fox News is a problem, but according to this graph, Republicans don't trust the media. So even Fox News is bullshit and terrible, but it looks like they don't trust Fox News. It's like they don't trust the media at all. They don't trust shit. I don't know. I find that a very interesting situation. You might think that Fox News is a problem, and they are, but this graph shows you they're not very trusted. Could this be why Tucker Carlson has suddenly taken a somewhat progressive populist bent in his show, or why he's allowed to? Most likely because they know their viewers don't even trust what they're telling them. They know that people support populist positions that Bernie Sanders supports. They support populist positions like an anti-war position, which just makes for very interesting bedfellows these days. As far as the media, progressive media, alternative media, mainstream media. I mean, what the mainstream media is doing these days is tantamount to some kind of narcissistic abuse. Michael Tracy thinks that people have been traumatized by the media. And that's why Biden won, right? He thinks that's Bernie didn't lose, Bernie wasn't cheated. The establishment forces weren't lined against him. He just lost because, well, his theory is that he lost because the media has traumatized people so much over Trump. They've projected this Trump bad, and Trump's a Russian puppet, and Trump is the worst, most terrible monster that ever existed. And so people are traumatized, and they're like, "Oh my God, we got to vote for Biden. We need somebody who's electable. We can't vote for Bernie. We can't, go out on a limb. We don't need a revolution right now. We need somebody to beat Trump, for God's sakes." And he thinks this is why Biden was ultimately selected. Not necessarily elected, but selected. On some levels, that's real. He's doing things, Trump is doing things that other presidents have done. Plenty of presidents. Things that Obama's done, things that Bush has done, things that Clinton has done. But somehow it's the way that he's doing them that really upsets people. He's also doing insane shit as well. Like tweeting "Liberate Michigan." That is insane. But the narrative that Trump is the worst president ever is a feature of media and public sentiment. This has also been exacerbated by sentiment on social media as well. I'm seeing something that has been around for a while, but become even more entrenched. People are taking things that they see on mainstream media and they hyperinflate it into this intense outrage at anyone who would think something different than them, right? So if you're in any way, if it used to be actually after 2016, there was a point in time where things were really kind of bizarre, super funhouse land on social media, where if you were on the left and if you weren't saying like "fuck Trump" every single day, if you weren't posting like anti-Trump articles, people were literally making posts like, I see you over there not hating Trump enough." Like, he doesn't post any anti-Trump articles. He must be a secret Trump supporter. We're going to find him out. I mean, create shit like that. I see people doing this right now. Vote blue no matter who people are. I see them on social media talking about, "Oh my God, these crazy people over here. These people that won't support the Democrats and won't support Biden. They're just, they're selling us down the river. Oh my God." It's ridiculous. Or just, conflating different issues. If you're anti-Biden, or if you're not going to vote for Biden, you're privileged, which is absolute bullshit, because I see plenty of people who are not privileged saying, "Fuck that, I'm never voting for Biden." So, that's Completely false. So anyways, that's why Tracy thinks people have chosen Biden over Bernie. He thinks Bernie just lost. I find that to be a dubious claim myself, because before South Carolina, Biden was almost non-existent. I mean, he was like fourth or fifth in the primaries. Extremely powerful, which might be the case, or Biden was manufactured in more ways than just South Carolina turning the tide, which I think I think both things happened. I think the media went super crazy after Bernie, especially after Bernie won Nevada. So I'm going to take a little pause here and show you, if you get into this article about, Bernie says that the media, basically he lost because of the media. They played a big part of it. I don't think it was the only thing. Bernie Sanders thinks the media cost him the nomination. Most likely, they were a large part of it. In an interview with CNN's Ryan Nobles, reflecting on his 2020 presidential bid, Bernie Sanders makes clear that he's still holding something of a grudge against the media. Here's the key bit. I think what we saw from Nevada on out was a cry from the rooftops, from the political establishment, from the media, that they wanted anybody but Bernie, which is absolutely true. They actually want Trump more than Bernie. That's why they don't mind having, an accused sex offender, cognitive decline robot in Biden. They don't want, they prefer him over Bernie. Biden's totally fine, but Bernie is absolutely out of the question. Anybody but Bernie, my God, I don't know how many articles they were about. We need anybody but Bernie, and they ended up succeeding, and that's that. Again, yes, the media extremely powerful in creating this idea that, not only were Bernie's followers all white or all sexist or racist, just like Trump followers, or crazy populists. It's funny how the media has turned the word populist into something, super terrible. Populist just means, popular for people because it's good for people, or it's what the people want. But somehow that's become a bad word because Trump is a populist. Well, on some level, he's appealing to people, but he's also lying to people. He's, exactly. Anthony Davis, the MAGA Trumpsters think Bernie is a communist. Right. But, Bernie didn't do himself any favors because he didn't dispel these ideas all that well. He called himself a socialist instead of distinctly saying democratic socialist, more strongly to history. Historically, this being a very American, socialism or democratic socialism being a very American thing. Instead of letting them paint him as a loony. And the whole time, Trump was more scared of Bernie than anybody else. And he knew this. He knew Bernie was more of a threat. In just a few sentences, Sanders, lumps the media in with political establishment as actors working to keep him from the nomination. So they're trying to say, what a crazy idea. No, this is absolutely what happened. And B, lambaste the number of articles allegedly written seeking anybody but Bernie. That's actually... So they're trying to, basically dispel this idea, which was everywhere. Close watchers of the 2020 campaign will note that Sanders has long believed the media was working against him. In August 2019, Sanders sent an email to supporters that read, in part, corporate and billionaire-owned media often tilts coverage against candidates who push a working-class agenda, an agenda that threatens the political power of corporations and billionaires. So it's funny, this is hilarious because this is CNN, corporate media trying to tell you, oh, what a ridiculous idea, right? They're trying to fact check for you. It goes on. In February, Sanders' campaign manager Fez Shakir told Vanity Fair that MSNBC is constantly undermining the Bernie Sanders campaign. which was absolutely true. Women, some women saying like, oh, if you're not supporting Warren right now, if you're supporting Bernie Sanders, you're kind of showing your sexism. Okay. Considering that so many Bernie Sanders supporters were women, it's a little ridiculous. Following his Super Tuesday losses, Sanders again turned to the media for blame. There has not been a campaign that has been having to deal with the venom by some in the corporate media. He said this campaign has been compared to the coronavirus on television. We have been described as the Nazi army marching across France, which they actually did that. So I don't understand why you can't see that for what it obviously is and say like, yeah, that's a little bit wild. As Margaret Sullivan helpfully noted in the Washington Post, there were without doubt commentators at some major media outlets who wrote pieces deeply skeptical of Sanders' chances of beating President Donald Trump. Again, every single poll showed Bernie beating Trump by a wider margin than every single other nominee or candidate, excuse me. So that was, we're talking about polls, we're talking about data, we're talking about facts. So, they were going against the data and against the facts by saying, oh, there's ridiculous. There's no way he could beat Trump. Evidence of some sort of broad-scale effort by the media to keep Sanders from winning, there's not much of that to be had. Except for the evidence that you just presented in this article. So again, this article is a super mindfuck because this is mainstream media telling you that no way mainstream media was trying to, run Bernie Sanders down, even though here's all the instances in which we ran him down. There's not much of that to be had. Ha ha ha. And by blaming the media for his defeat, Sanders takes credit away from the remarkable comeback that Joe Biden, the presumptive nominee, who formally endorsed just this week, engineered. Joe Biden engineered this. Joe Biden can't engineer his way through a segment on CNN. He can't engineer a couple sentences together. I don't know how he can engineer this comeback. The media is an easy scapegoat, but not always the right one. That's the point. That's the point they're trying to tell you here. The point. Because, you guys are so smart, we got to tell you what the point of the article is. Because you're brilliant. Oh, my God. Anyways, and here you go. Here is what the mainstream media and the establishment Democrats are actually ramming down your throats. Because Trump beats Biden, Bernie beats Trump, but damn it, we cannot have Bernie beating Trump. We cannot have it. We absolutely cannot have it. There's a lot of blame to be put on the Bernie Sanders campaign. There's a lot of blame to be put on Bernie Sanders himself. Actually, I don't think he, you can't coddle the establishment. You can't, uphold or support the establishment and knock them down at the same time. You got to pick a side. So you're either anti-establishment or you're not, and all the evidence points to that being the reason that Trump won was because he was an anti-establishment candidate, and he never minced words about being anti-establishment, and he never coddled the establishment, and he just said, you guys are the establishment and you're full of shit. And everybody was like, okay. So, taking a little break from that article. So I am Sweetleaf is a commenter in the chat, said something about the fact that Trump is a foil for anti-establishment sentiment. Indeed, Trump might literally be controlled opposition on the highest level. So in the same way that, think about this on a deep state level or on an intelligence operation level. or on a mindfuck level, in the same way that they tried to, tie Manson into, being the representative of hippie culture and drug culture, and like, oh, but this is what it leads to. It leads to, people mass murdering. Trump has been tied to anti-establishment sentiment, rightly so on many levels, but anybody who's anti-establishment or brings up certain issues or ideas are immediately called Trumpers, or, yesterday somebody said I was going to bring up some "Where We Go One, We Go All," which is a Q reference. Yes, I believe that Q is most likely in the same vein of, mind control operation. Clearly. But interesting nonetheless, because it's just interesting the way that they're laying that out. But yeah, anybody who's anti-establishment now has been, swept under the umbrella of being, one of these people, those people, right? Even if you're anti-Biden, even if you're anti-blue, blue no matter who, oh, well, then you must support Trump. This is the thinking that has been thrust on the American population, that if you're not, it's literally like, if you're not on this side, you are the most terrible, awful person that ever existed, and the same goes on for the people on the right, are, have some wild ideas about liberals and Democrats and lefties, and, that they are, literally an organization of evil for evil. On some levels, that could actually be true, but you're lumping everybody who has left-leaning sentiments in with establishment. There's a difference between establishment left and people who truly, in their hearts, believe in progressive ideas or left-leaning ideas, but they're not necessarily establishment leaning. So, the truly anti-establishment sentiment really gets left out of this entire picture. Even though, we're a growing threat and we are a growing base of people. I don't know if you want to call everyone who's in this corner progressive or not. I don't know what the word is to use for it. I'm not really sure. Populist, progressive, anti-establishment. The fact that so many people believe that Trump is anti-establishment is ridiculous. I mean, it's a really good game that they're playing, right? They've got half the population believing Trump is a hero, that he's fighting for them, and the other half of the population that believe he's the worst monster possible. And everybody is traumatized, right? So that's the end goal of this, is everybody is traumatized and nobody knows what the fuck to think or what the fuck to do. Yeah, one of the most abusive things out there is the idea that the Dems want to beat Trump. They don't want to beat Trump. They vote for all of everything that he puts forward. There was actually more resistance to Bush than there is to Trump. Think I'm lying? Go look at congressional votes. There was more resistance to Bush. They'd rather beat Bernie or Tulsi than Trump. So blue no matter who is the ultimate gaslight, because they don't care. They don't care whether they win or not. Proven by the fact that they continue to give Trump more power under these new stimulus bills, that they are unanimous in their support. It's clear that all kinds of improprieties are happening under Trump, but at the moment, Congress isn't even in session. And all the progressives can do, all the quote-unquote progressive Congress people, all they can do is say, well, we should be doing this. We should be helping people. Golly. in conclusion, the mind fucking is real, and the mind fucking continues. And you gotta get off this. You gotta get off this. This is where Democrats fail. This is where Democrats fail. That they think, they think what is going on is above the board and that we're all being told the truth. And this isn't, some kind of game, mind game that they're playing on us. No. Oh, they're fine. They're fine. This is just an interesting graph to me. This is interesting as hell. I mean, I'm not a Republican on any level, but look how little faith they have in the media. And it keeps going down. It just keeps going down. Independence, this is probably where I'm at, as far as belief system, I guess. Very little faith too, but just a little more faith. But you'd gather by looking at this graph that independent thinkers, well, they're somewhere in the middle. They don't believe everything they hear, and then they don't discount everything they hear either. There you go. Whew, that was a longer presentation than I thought it would be. Anyways, Bernie beat Bernie, Matt Angiano. He was the gaslight for the left. Yes. I agree with you on that. I do agree with you on that. Proudhon, Charles Manson had CIA links. Look at the work of Peter Levenda. Yes. Well, Tom O'Neill, if you go listen to this interview with Joe Rogan, it's pretty great. Renee Michelle, yes, I agree with you. You must go to a third party. It's time. And, people are really not going to understand it. They want these things, and we're tired of not getting these. We're tired of government not working for people. This is a movement outside of Bernie. This is a movement outside of the establishment, and we're fighting against the establishment is the problem. But when you have that belief in the establishment, in the establishment narrative, in the establishment media, it's very hard to counter that belief, especially if you're on the left. But the left really needs to try and do that. I don't know. It's very difficult right now because we're being gaslit, because we're being mind fucked. Anthony Davis, Fox and anyone who is pro-life, pro-guns, and anti-legal immigrants, they're all for Trump. That's true, but listen, man, when Bernie Sanders went on Fox, he did a town hall last year. The people in that audience were very receptive to Bernie Sanders. I think that they distrust that narrative as much as anybody, more, it looks like, more than the left distrusts their narrative, right, that they get from their news channels. Jody Connolly, Bull Moose, indeed. Deb Van Poel in third, fourth, and fifth parties, indeed. Now is the best time, Matt Angiano. I'm totally with you, man. Anthony Davis, you got something there? Yeah, if the third party would only work if it was the center, indeed. If it somehow encapsulated that independent vote that's right down the middle. All right, guys, thank you so much. I've run out of time. I appreciate your chats and your viewership. Thank you always. I will be back tomorrow at the same bat time. Also, please check me out on Rockfin, Patreon. And thank you so much for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. Until next time, peace.